Hey, it's Meatball.
And Mark.
And this is the Rocker Morning Show on demand from 107.7 RKR.
Jeff, you're on with Mark and Meatball.
Hey, good morning there.
Hey,
morning, man.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good. Kalamazoo, Michigan. I'm from Toledo, Ohio originally.
Yeah.
Just right down the road. It's too bad you're on the wrong side of the border, though.
That's right. I spent a lot of time in Detroit as a kid, going into clubs. You know, I remember back then you only had to be 18 to get in. I was like 15, but I had my brother's fake ID.
Oh, yeah.
They would just ask you, your Social Security number, and it was on there. And if you knew that, you could get in. So
Right. Oh, my gosh.
I looked like I was 13, going to Harpo's.
Yeah, they let you slide on that one. Well, Guitars for Asia, featuring John Payne and the Alan Parsons Live Project. He's gigged with dozens of other bands and has a new album out that features a track with Chad Smith of the Red Hot Chili Peppers and a special feature interview with Chad that came out this week as well. Welcome to the Rocker Morning Show, Jeff. We appreciate you being here today.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm just on my second cup of coffee, rolling right along, man.
Same here, dude. Let's start with your album, 2023 AD, that came out in May. It has such a wide variety of sounds and influences. We've been jamming it in the studio. What was the overall goal while writing this record that you wanted to accomplish?
It's a hard thing to frame like art or whatever it is that you're trying to do. I don't even remember the processes of doing it. You start writing a few things that feel cohesive, and next thing you know, you build momentum, and then it's like, okay, this feels like an album, and you just kind of continue the process.
Yeah.
It usually happens pretty quick, if you're inspired and things are not getting in the way, life is not getting in the way too much.
I will say, just listening to this, if anybody's listening to this interview right now, that this is really good album for cruising down the road too. This is like a good road trip album.
Okay, I like that. I listen to a lot of music when I'm driving. It's kind of a good way to kind of clear your head. And
yeah, it's a good variety of like rock and kind of blues and a lot of different experiences in there.
Yeah, and I got to bring in some great players that, they added nice stuff to it. I mean, this cat, Shane Gallus on drums, is bar none one of the best drummers you're ever going to hear in your life. Canadian guy. And I got Chad Smith on the second track, Tongs and Thongs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to get to that one too. I wanted to ask you, about the title track and the album 2023 AD. Did I see this is dedicated to Jeff Beck, right? Yeah,
not the album as a whole, but the opening piece.
And
he passed away last year.
Yeah,
we lost a great one.
Yeah, it's a beautiful piece, and I wondered, where that inspiration came for him. Was it just like, he died and then you were inspired to write this, and that's kind of what got the record going, or was it kind of in the middle of the process?
Yeah, a lot of times on my albums, I start out with something kind of ethereal and kind of set a mood.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just, starts action-packed. And actually, that intro piece is the same chord changes as the next song, Tribal Scream. But you'd never know it because it has a whole different presentation. The next song is pretty heavy.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's quite the attitude shift there from those first two tracks.
Yeah, but it's the same. Yeah, if you check it out harmonically, it's the same tune.
That's cool.
I know there's also a dedication to Eddie Van Halen on this album too. The song 2 years ago today. He was one of your early inspirations in guitar playing, wasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he changed everything, and everything he did, those first like 5 albums, I mean, it still is some of the best playing. Just the rhythm guitar playing is so good.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's kind of overlooked with him. I mean, a lot of people can tapping. His rhythm guitar playing is just something else. And, when he passed away, October 6, 2020, I was doing a TMZ session with a writer, long distance, because we were in COVID lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I quit the session and went to the beach and listened to Van Halen and with my wife. And then the next day I wrote a tune called Homage to King Edward. And I kind of vowed that every year, the eve of his passing, I would be creative in the studio writing something. So 2 years ago today was 2 years after his passing.
Okay.
October 6, 2022.
Wow.
So that made the record.
Very cool.
And, it's not like I'm trying to write something that's in his style or anything. It's just, a way to be creative and not take, the gift of art for granted.
Yeah, that track. I mean, if you listen to it, if you know it's an Eddie Van Halen tribute, you would think you were going to hear some Eddie Van Halen, but it's really not. And I kind of appreciated that you took a different course with that as well.
Yeah.
Now the album is not just a bunch of tribute songs and stuff. You have some fun with it too. You got Jimmy Johnson on there on a track called Cosmic Dust, which is a ton of fun. And then you mentioned Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers on Tongs and Thongs with you. Can you talk about this track? One, how you got Chad involved with it, and two, where the title Tongs and Thongs came from.
So we have a band called the Bombastic Meatbats, which
right.
is just as ridiculous as that title. And we were working on a new record with that group, a third studio album. And I think at the time, Chad started getting busy either for Shanti. I think for Shanti was coming back into the fold with the Peppers.
Mm-hmm.
So I had brought that song in for that group. And then it sat around, and when I was making this new album, I thought, man, this would fit right in perfect, the third track on the record.
Yeah.
So I texted Chad, and he said, hey, you want to hijack your tune? It's your tune. And I'd love to play it, and I go, man, that'd be great. And the week I wanted him to come in, he was getting really busy with Iggy Pop and the Peppers. He gets a lot of calls from Rick Rubin from studio sessions. And it wasn't looking good. He's like, man, I don't know if I can pull it off. And then that Thursday came, and he texted me around 9 a.m. He goes, what are you doing around 1? We'll be in the studio in Simi Valley rehearsing. He's like, I'll be there, because that's the studio where we record drums. And, this guy, Shane Gallus, who's an amazing drummer.
Yeah.
And he's on the rest of the record, Shane is. So Chad just sat down in his set, and, he's like 9 inches taller.
Yeah.
Adjust the seat, puts the headphones on, and rocks it.
Nice.
But it was cool because we had played that one a couple times live with the Meatbats, so he wasn't coming in cold. He knew the tune.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask because, he was just on an episode of Drumeo not too long ago where he's, like, known for his one takes, and he's just like, all right, got it, done, move on. Like, I wondered if that was the case for this as well.
Yeah, he did his first take, and it was a little conservative compared to playing it live.
Yeah.
And I remember saying, how about you fill some holes? He said, oh, man, like Ian Pace? He goes, how about Ian Pace? He says, how about Ian Pace meets Ron Jeremy?
Solid double entendre there.
So the second take was the take. But, I
Nice.
used to work with Glenn Hughes from Deep Purple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had Chad as a guest on 2 different records. And they were both first take.
That's
There's a
awesome.
tune called Losing My Head, and I think Steve Vai guest soloed on that. And
That's
Chad,
awesome.
it was a first take drum track. So
Yeah, that's cool.
We
That's cool.
we mentioned the special that you've got coming out. It's called Talk Shop Live with Chad, which people can see at talkshop.live. Is this just you and Chad sitting down and literally what it says, talking shop?
So it'll be like split screen, right? Because we're in different locations. I'm not in LA right now. I'm outside of Chicago right now. So, but yeah, we'll just talk about the new record and tell stories, and people can call in or write in, I suppose, and ask some questions and sign some stuff. And
You've been working with him for a long time, but did you learn anything about Chad that you didn't know previously doing this?
I didn't know he looked like Will Ferrell. I'll tell you, he's as funny as Will Ferrell. Chad is super funny.
I hear he loves it when people compare him to him as well.
He didn't at first. And then they became friends. And I remember him saying, I'm rich now because of the guy. Housewives know who I am. And I'm like, you're already rich.
Oh, man. Well, the album 2023 AD is out now. The Talk Shop Live with Chad Smith is going to be out this week. You can probably watch it again as well on a recurrent at talkshop.live. And the new singles off the album, Tongs and Thongs, featuring Chad Smith, out now. Jeff, it's been a pleasure. Love everything you've done. The album is awesome. And for those listening to us now, go out, get it, order it, jeffkollman.com. And, man, we greatly appreciate your time today, dude.
All right, thanks so much. You guys have a great day.
You too, man.
See you, Jeff.
At your job, do you ever have to deal with a nose roller? How about a snub pulley? Well, if you're installing a new conveyor belt system, dealing with the different components can sound like you're speaking a foreign language. Luckily, you've got a team ready to help. Grainger's technical product specialists are fluent in maintenance, repair, and operations. So whenever you want to talk shop, just reach out. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.